Imagine a time long before the storms and waters reshaped the earth as we know it, particularly before the pivotal events described in the book of Genesis. We find ourselves transported to an epoch that transcends our understanding, an era before the Great Flood that would forever alter the fate of humanity. These accounts, often shrouded in mystery and profound interpretations, unveil a period of primitive humanity marked by extraordinary longevity, intense divine connections, and an intimate proximity to the Creator. In this unique time, the very narrative of creation unfolded before our ancestors, allowing them to witness the splendor of God's handiwork. In this forgotten age, notable figures such as Adam, Eve, Cain, Abel, and the eventual hero Noah offer us glimpses into a life that resonates with relatability and wonder. Each character contributes to a rich tapestry of early human experience, highlighting both the beauty and tragedy of existence. As we delve deeper into this ancient world, we must consider the myriad forces that culminated in the cataclysmic event of the flood. Central to this narrative are the dark influences of Satan and the fallen angels. The first event that set the stage for the flood occurred even before the creation of the world itself. In the biblical story of the book of Job, God reveals a cosmic event that transpired prior to creation. As illustrated in Job 38:4-7, God asks, "Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Tell me, if you have understanding. Who determined its measurements? Surely you know. Or who stretched the line upon it? To what were its foundations fastened? Or who laid its cornerstone when the morning stars sang together and all the sons of God shouted for joy?" This passage reveals that angelic beings, referred to as the morning stars and sons of God, witnessed the creation of the earth and rejoiced in God's glory, power, and wisdom. Yet before the flood, a significant rebellion took place. The Bible provides only brief references to the fallen angels, noting that the vast majority of angels in heaven remained faithful and never turned to evil. However, some chose to abandon their divine purpose, driven by the free will granted to them. The book of Jude emphasizes this point clearly in Jude 5-6, stating, "But I want to remind you, though you once knew this, that the Lord, having saved the people out of the land of Egypt, afterward destroyed those who did not believe. And the angels who did not keep their proper domain, but left their own abode. He has reserved in everlasting chains under darkness for the judgment of the great day." This passage suggests that the angels failed to guard their original position, which can be interpreted as both a governance and a starting point. Angels were designed specifically to dwell in heaven with God, worshipping Him and executing His commands. Created to glorify God, they were expected to maintain their heavenly abode. Yet, some angels, led by Satan, who masquerades as an angel of light, chose rebellion. This great rebellion was an attempt to overthrow God's authority in the eternal realm. The devil devised a plan to usurp God, but ultimately he and his followers were defeated in this celestial conflict. Jesus himself, who witnessed these events, spoke of the glory he shared with God the Father before the world existed. John 17:5. "And now, O Father, glorify me together with yourself, with the glory which I had with you before the world was." Before the earth was created, God existed in majesty with his Son. Jesus later declared, "I saw Satan fall like lightning from heaven." This revelation underscores that Satan is far more than the caricature of a red figure with horns and a trident. He is an ancient being endowed with real spiritual power, which he uses for malevolent purposes. As the Apostle Paul noted, we are engaged in a spiritual battle, not against flesh and blood. The kingdom of Satan is highly organized, possessing different realms and levels of authority, with its headquarters in the heavenly realms. This understanding is crucial. The notion of an organized kingdom led by Satan may surprise some, yet the Bible provides ample evidence of this reality. A spiritual war is waged between two kingdoms, one ruled by God, the Prince of Peace, and the other by Satan, the Prince of Darkness. Following his expulsion from heaven, Satan and his followers formed a rebel kingdom that sought to undermine God's plans on earth. In the Garden of Eden, Satan launched his first attack against God's authority, perceiving the earth as his domain and viewing Adam and Eve as intruders. When God created humanity to inhabit the earth and establish his kingdom, Satan devised a plan to thwart this divine purpose. The Garden of Eden, described in Genesis, was a special place where humanity could experience joy and communion with God. In this paradise, God placed the tree of knowledge of good and evil, instructing Adam and Eve that they could eat from any tree except this one. To dismantle God's creation, Satan sought to destroy humanity's destiny. His first tactic was to instill doubt in Eve's mind. Did God really say? Genesis 3:1. This manipulation sowed confusion and led to further deception. Satan's second strategy involved suggesting that disobedience would not lead to death, claiming, "You will not surely die." Genesis 3:4. Finally, he employed temptation, enticing Eve to partake of the forbidden fruit. As a result of their disobedience, Adam and Eve could no longer remain in the garden. They had made a fateful choice that would reverberate throughout history. Despite Satan's overwhelming counterattack, God established a plan for redemption, foreshadowing that the serpent's head would eventually be crushed by the seed of the woman. The story of Cain and Abel marks another pivotal moment in humanity's early history. Following their expulsion from Eden, Adam and Eve gave birth to two sons. Both boys were taught about God and understood the importance of sacrifices. However, while God accepted Abel's offering, he did not regard Cain's. This rejection led to Cain's rage and jealousy, culminating in the first murder as he killed his brother Abel. In a moment of self-deception, Cain attempted to distance himself from the act, questioning God, "Am I my brother's keeper?" Genesis 4:9. Fearing for his life, God placed a mark on Cain to protect him from retribution. Thus, Cain became a restless wanderer, exiled from his home and family. He settled in the land of Nod, east of Eden, where he built a city named after his son, Enoch. Cain's descendants became influential figures, yet they were marked by violence and corruption. Generations passed, and the legacy of Cain was evident in the societal norms that developed. From Jabal, the father of those who live in tents and raise cattle, to Jubal, the father of all who play stringed instruments, and Tubal-Cain, who forged tools from bronze and iron, Cain's lineage contributed to the development of early civilization. However, it also propagated a culture of bloodshed and defiance against God's design for humanity. In stark contrast to Cain's lineage, God established a new family tree through Seth, another son of Adam, who replaced Abel. Seth's descendants exemplified worship and a desire for connection with God. The biblical account notes that during this period, people began to call upon the name of the Lord. However, the shadow of Cain's pride lingered, highlighting the struggle between righteous and wicked worship. As time progressed, humanity multiplied and diversified, transforming families into tribes and leading to the emergence of civilizations. The Bible notes that after becoming the father of Seth, Adam lived for 800 years, during which he had other sons and daughters, Genesis 5:4. As Adam and Eve's family expanded, the population grew, and with it, the complexity of human existence. Men lived extraordinarily long lives, with ages reaching into the hundreds. Adam himself lived for 930 years, while his son Seth lived 912 years, and Enoch lived 905 years. This remarkable longevity allowed generations to develop skills, cultivate the land, and deepen their understanding of God's creation. However, despite their long lives, these ancient peoples were not immune to the moral failings that plagued humanity. Jealousy, anger, and violence persisted throughout their lineages. Among these early figures was Enoch, whose life stands out in the biblical narrative. When Enoch was 65 years old, he became the father of Methuselah, the longest-lived human recorded in Scripture. Enoch is introduced in Genesis 5:21, where we learn that he walked with God. This phrase signifies a deep and intimate relationship with the Creator, setting Enoch apart from his contemporaries, who largely recorded only their births and lineage. Enoch's testimony is remarkable. Although he did not live as long as some of the other patriarchs, his life of righteousness and faithfulness served as a model for generations. The Scriptures tell us that Enoch walked so closely with God that when it was time for him to leave the earth, God took him without experiencing death. Genesis 5:24. His brief yet profound legacy encourages believers to pursue a deep relationship with God, demonstrating that even amidst chaos, a life dedicated to righteousness is possible. As humanity continued to populate the earth, however, the narrative took a troubling turn. The descendants of Cain, having established their own culture, began to intermingle with the descendants of Seth, leading to spiritual corruption. Genesis 6:1-4 states, "When human beings began to multiply on the face of the land and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of humans were beautiful, and they took wives for themselves as many as they chose." This reference to the sons of God is often interpreted as fallen angels, while the daughters of humans refers to mortal women. From this unholy union arose the Nephilim, described as mighty men of old, men of renown. This implies that these beings were not only physically imposing, but also possessed a reputation for violence and wickedness. The intrusion of these beings into the human realm further deepened the chasm between good and evil. Their existence reflects the consequences of humanity's choices and the infiltration of dark forces into the world. As humanity spiraled into corruption, God observed the rising wickedness. Genesis 6:5 poignantly articulates his response. "The Lord saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every intent of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually." The escalating depravity prompted God to grieve over his creation, leading to the decision to cleanse the earth. God's heartache over the corruption of his creation reached a tipping point. Genesis 6:6-7 conveys this divine sorrow. "So the Lord said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, creeping thing and birds of the air, for I am sorry that I have made them." Yet, amidst judgment, a glimmer of hope emerged in the form of Noah, a righteous man, blameless in his generation, who walked with God. Genesis 6:9. God communicated with Noah, revealing the impending catastrophe and instructing him to build an ark as a refuge for himself, his family, and pairs of all living creatures. This task would require incredible faith, resilience, and obedience, as Noah faced ridicule and skepticism from those around him. The construction of the ark, as outlined in Genesis 6:14-16, was a monumental undertaking, calling for specific dimensions and materials. Make yourself an ark of gopher wood, make rooms in the ark, and cover it inside and outside with pitch. As Noah diligently worked on this massive vessel, he served as a living testament to God's warnings and promises. For 120 years, Noah preached righteousness, urging the people to repent and turn back to God. However, the hearts of the people were hardened, and they turned a deaf ear to his message. Eventually, the time came for the flood to cleanse the earth. the heavens opened and rain fell for 40 days and nights, submerging the earth in a cataclysmic deluge. The waters overwhelmed the mountains, and every living creature outside the ark perished. The profound loss and destruction served as a testament to the consequences of humanity's choices. In the midst of this devastation, however, Noah and his family remained safe within the ark, sustained by God's grace and mercy. The floodwaters gradually receded, and after many months adrift, the ark finally came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. With the floodwaters receding, God instructed Noah to exit the ark, marking the beginning of a new chapter in human history. God established a covenant with Noah, promising never to destroy the earth with a flood again, signified by the rainbow, a symbol of hope and divine promise. Noah's family became the foundation for a new humanity, tasked with repopulating the earth and restoring the broken relationship between God and creation. However, the lingering effects of sin remained evident, as the struggle between righteousness and wickedness persisted throughout generations. Even in the aftermath of the flood, humanity grappled with the weight of its history. The descendants of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, divided into nations and established diverse cultures. Yet, the corruption that led to the flood continued to manifest, with society eventually reaching the Tower of Babel, where the people sought to make a name for themselves, disregarding God's command to spread across the earth. As we reflect on this ancient narrative, we see profound truths about the nature of humanity, the consequences of sin, and God's unwavering grace. The story of humanity before the flood serves as a sobering reminder of the delicate balance between divine purpose and human choice. Though humanity has traversed through darkness, the light of hope shines brightly through the promise of redemption and restoration. This journey into our ancient past invites us to engage with our Creator, reflecting on our choices and striving for righteousness amidst a world often overshadowed by darkness.